Yeah, we'll just get started
Yeah,
without him. All right, being 6:01, I'll call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Channy may be here. First order of business is we're going over some more budget stuff. And the first department head we're meeting with tonight is Jim Tatro. Going over the town clerk budget line items.
I'll leave it up to you. I'll leave it up to you to ask me.
It looks great. The only question I don't, there's a new line item that,
There's a couple of new line items. I created down at the bottom 0141453-207. I created a legal line just so we know exactly how much the town clerk is spending on legal services.
Yep.
I created a new line item on the bottom, and I do want to reduce one. Line item. So every year when we have an election, whether it's a federal, state, or town, whatever, part of that responsibility is we have to pay for the programming of the memory card for the counting device. So I just wanted to, I created a new item, I called it Federal Election Program, just so we know exactly how much the programming was broken out.
Right.
The line item I do want to reduce is 014145-3-204. I want to reduce that down to 2,500. That's the program. That's the line item we spend on our official ballots for town meeting.
And 2,500 is going to be sufficient?
We'll see. I think it will be because generally I code when the programming comes in for the elections. I generally pay it out of that line item, but again, we're going to break it out and have a separate line item. So I've added these line items because I think I want to have a better idea of exactly what I'm spending with the taxpayers' money.
Right. No, it makes sense. So reducing that down to 2,500 would bring the...
It'll be just down 2,000, so the whole line item will be 2,500.
Right, that's what I meant, sorry. Down to 2,500.
Yeah.
Right.
Would bring your new total to 108,836.
Yep.
Which is only $131 increase from last year. No, I'm fine with all of it. Nobody else.
motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
Sorry?
We're all set?
Okay, I have a couple of things. I've been working on the revenue portion of the budget. I'm not ready to, I'll have that for the budget committee. I'll make sure that you all see it before it goes to the budget committee so you have an idea of a comparison of the revenue from last fiscal year to this fiscal year that comes in at my window.
Yeah.
The other thing is I've spoken to Carrie. I don't know if I've spoken to you. In the future, we're going to need to start using our balloting device. The counting machine for elections was purchased in 1996. It is in good working order now, but in the future we're going, and I have talked to LHS, and there's no new machines approved for use in the state, but eventually there are going to be a next generation, and we're going to want to think about updating.
Yeah.
A couple of things by state law that can't happen. There can be no telephone ports to plug into it. There can be no internet cables that can plug into it. It just counts what comes through the machine.
Right.
So I'm just putting that as a bug in your ear for the future to be thinking about. So when I come to you in next year or the year after saying, here's the price of, and I'll be looking for you to advise me if you want to do that as a warrant article, separate warrant article, or actually within my budget for that, a special line item in my budget for that 1 year, depending on how much it is.
Well, I was just going to say, could you give us a rough idea, and if it's something that we can handle just as a one-shot deal, or if it's something that maybe this year we could set up a capital reserve for and fund that, and then do that for a couple years in a row.
Okay, I can contact LHS and let you know. I can send something to Carrie if you want with what their estimates of the cost of the next generation would be for the machine.
Wasn't,
Right.
didn't Dennis look into that last year? Didn't he had some figures?
The Secretary of State's office, he may have some figures now. I talk
Yeah.
to him almost every day. The Secretary of State's office did have like a fair, so to speak, where you could go and view some of the technology and everything. Dennis was able to go, I wasn't, so I can talk to Dennis and find out. But one of the things that it's important to me is that we continue to deal with LHS. Number one, we have a relationship with them. Number two, the service that they provide is excellent. For instance, on election days, they have people stationed throughout the state for troubleshooters. Some of you were involved. Chan, I think, was here. A few years ago, we had the machine jam up and it wouldn't stop jamming. We had a guy in Keene that was staying at the Best Western that was here within 20 minutes. It turned out there was something wrong with the head. And so he bought a new head, he replaced it, we put it in the backup memory card, and just went on with our election.
I think we ought to do a capital reserve anyways, just for future use, because it will be earmarked, nothing can be used except for that. And then you fund it even a little bit after we purchase a new one, and then we'll always have that money there. We're not taking a big chunk.
Yeah, I mean, if we end up buying a new one, once we do it, we may want to only fund it at $500
Right,
a year.
right.
The other piece of that, we could also take, once we have the new one, if we wanted to, we could also perhaps take the maintenance, if we word the warrant article correctly for purchase and maintenance of.
Right.
We could take, and the maintenance is not very expensive. I think I paid $200 a year for that maintenance. But it's just something I wanted you to have on your radar that we need to be thinking about for the future.
Yeah. Yep.
So I have nothing else.
All right, thank you very much,
Thank
Jim.
you for your time, I appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Amy. So you got change.
Well, Alex, it's the next one on my list. We'll go with Margaret Shara for Land Use and Health Office.
Took $2,000 out of it though, so it's 2,000 less than that. Margaret, that land use training, I see that's gone up 1,800. Is that something to do with for Steve, for the classes? Okay,
That's exactly what it is.
all right.
I don't have any questions on either of her budgets. Margaret, did you have anything to speak on either of these?
No, there
No.
wouldn't have been an increase if we,
Right, yeah, they,
Just because of his training. I make a motion to approve.
both,
Second that.
both of them,
Both.
the land use and the health officer?
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Thank you. And was Peggy coming in or is Sherry doing Peggy's? Okay. Sherry, come on up.
You can do both.
Yep.
Doing welfare first.
Yeah, we'll do the welfare budget first. Anybody have any questions for Sherry on the welfare budget? Sherry, you didn't have anything else to add to this, right?
No, I moved a few figures around, but
Yeah, all in all,
let's change it on.
it's a decrease of $400.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Move right on to cemetery. Why was there such a large jump in the internet, phone, and security?
Because we combined them all into one, and we're going to change from consolidated to Comcast Xfinity, so that we'll have enough power to run the security system. So that covers all of that, internet, phone, and security system. And we would have been increasing even with consolidated because we were near the end of our
Jack,
initial.
could you speak up a little bit? Could you speak up, please?
We were near the end of our initial agreement with them,
Yep,
you know, the introductory pricing.
yep. Okay, makes sense. Does anybody else have any questions for Sherry on the cemetery budget? You're all set with this budget, Sherry?
I feel comfortable with it, yes.
Right.
Make
Oh.
a motion to accept the cemetery budget?
Second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? Motion carries. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Next on the list is Dale Gray at the highway budget.
One thing I noticed, Dale, is the maintenance this year, where we've already used all but, let me find it here, $4,600 out of the 40,000 so far. And I know you increased that, but I'm almost wondering if we shouldn't increase it a little more as the stuff's getting older. Just a thought I had.
It's not a bad thought. It's only gonna get worse if we
Do
go.
we have a capital reserve for that?
No.
Not for repairs?
We haven't started.
Should we set up
Haven't
something?
even started that winter stuff already yet. Same as,
Yeah, and you've used, you know, all but $5,000 out of, yeah.
I know.
I was thinking go like another 10,000, but obviously these guys will, you know, see what,
Is that in line 114?
yes. I mean, he's increased it 10. But what are we in, 2 months? And we've got 11% left.
Second that motion, if you want to get a motion to increase the 10.
Well,
Hang on.
we do it as a whole, for the whole budget, if that's what. so
Yeah,
this-
I mean, adding that line.
Dale, I don't see any description, for your contracted services. Do you have it? 134?
No, my description is skipped from
Yeah, you don't have it either?
120 to 154.
Yeah.
Well, I'll change it.
When you go 120 to 154,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm missing that page.
I was listening to that.
Okay. All right. Well, contracted service is gonna be, like Lawrence, with plow.
Yeah.
Right off the hand, what else we do for that, but,
That's basically it.
huh?
That's basically it.
Is that mainly for him?
He had his equipment, so.
Yeah, I get it.
The other thing I saw here, Dale, is that the calcium chloride, you did up that, but this year, did that help out with the extra treatment?
I thought it did, yeah.
So do you think that's okay there, your 18,000?
18,000, to keep up on the price on the chloride. The 18,000 was back when we were paying $1.08, $1.10, but they're up to $1.25 a gallon now. And it takes, 18,000 gallons really to do all that dirt road, what we want to do. But it's still a little bit shy, but that's a pretty good start to 18,000.
Okay.
Anybody else have any questions on the highway budget?
Well, the only thing I was thinking of, and I'm not against increasing his maintenance line, but I was thinking about if we could take 5,000 from the tree removal and move it up there to the maintenance line item.
It's up to you.
Well, I've looked at the last couple of years.
It hasn't been used.
Well, no, it has. It has.
Some, it's been
Yeah.
used some.
Yeah,
But usually when the budget starts getting tight, that's one of the first things you stop doing.
yeah, no, I was just looking the last 2 years the history was,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, Dale, you know, we're bottom line budget, so you can, if need be, you can take it, move it around. But that would increase that line item by 5,000.
Now, I'm not really in favor of that, but that's up to the board here, so. We have just oodles and oodles, tons of trees, dead trees threatening the road out there that need to come down.
Well, that's what you have when you live in the country.
No, I realize that.
Yeah, less now, because
Still kind of have a liability to, try to keep people safe, going up down roads. I realize that, Jack. Right now, it sounds like we have all kinds of trees down around town.
There are
Yeah,
a lot of
couple in
them.
my backyard.
Yep, he did make it. Yeah, that's the only suggestion that I have.
Okay, how would the board like to move on that?
No, I think, I'd like to go with Dale's suggestion, leave that alone and go with the, the additional 10,000 in the maintenance.
Equipment repairs and maintenance?
I would like to see a little more in the calcium chloride, but he thinks we'll be all right there, so. It's 20% increase, but
I'd like to see an increase in maintenance too, because everything's getting older and it's breaking down. I mean, look at the Dino over there now, it's broke down. Cost us a mint to get that, so.
that's my suggestion.
Is that your motion?
So then it'd be.
I'll make a motion.
577,308.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep,
Is there a second on that?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. Thank you, Dale.
Chief's here.
Yeah, he's snuck in the boys' room. We might as well do the ambulance one first.
Ambulance?
Barry, come on up.
Ambulance first, you said?
Yeah. I figure it's the closest one, so. And we're starting with the ambulance first. It's actually a decrease. Yeah, I have no questions on this. Does anybody else have any questions?
I'd like to make a motion to approve 118-921.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. I'll move on to the fire department.
I just have to make one correction for addition.
On the fire?
Yes. I guess we'll throw it under repairs to equipment, 01422022105. I need to add $1,200 to that line item. That's for the service contract for the compressor that we're getting. So what that consists of is a quarterly air quality test and also a service once a year.
That's to fill your bottles?
Yeah.
Yeah,
The fill the cascade system,
yeah.
which that compressor, as everybody knows, is being purchased through the $250,000 donation.
Yeah.
That was 1,200.
$1,200.
How much is that, Barry, by the way, that, just something like that?
That compressor,
Yeah,
it's gonna be $30,000.
okay.
Anybody have any other questions for Barry on this? So your new total with adding on 1,200 would be 161,490.
Yep.
Make a motion to approve that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. And I don't know if Amy told you, but we already approved the forestry.
That's why I didn't bring it.
Yep. So we're all set with that, and you're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Short and sweet. Huh? Is that the only other?
What's up with the labor going down to $1? Is it from 3,000 there? Yeah.
We don't know what John Gramaro is doing. I'm
Oh.
assuming he's retiring, but
Oh,
we
okay.
haven't received his letter of resignation yet,
Okay,
but he didn't work at all last year, so.
okay.
So I mean, the increase was in the contract,
Yeah.
and there was a few adjustments made to take some money off to make up for some of it, but.
Yeah, you said 361.
Is there a sec? All right. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. I think that's all of them that can be done. We have both libraries coming in next week. And then the health agencies will be meeting with the budget committee. No, they were coming in, got that paper here somewhere. What? 17th, yeah. Yeah, 17th, we'll be meeting with them. And other than that, everybody else, yeah, we can't do anything else. Amy still doesn't have insurance figures, so we gotta wait on those. All right, well, thank you, Amy and Carrie and all the department heads for coming in. All right, so we'll continue on with some of the regular meeting until we do have a public hearing scheduled for 7. So we'll try and get through some of this regular business before that. And the first order of business is to approve the minutes from September 20th.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. We got a certificate of appreciation from the U.S. Census for letting them use our town hall and use our resources. Rick's not here yet. I'll save that.
That's fine.
We should probably save that for Rick too. Rick, do we need Rick for this water connection? Does Rick have anything on that? Do you know?
No.
No, okay. All right, so we have an application for a water connect, at Route 70, on Route 78, Warwick Road, map 5, lot 121.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
I'm gonna abstain from there.
Yep. Opposed? None. Motion passes 4 with 1 abstention. Next, we have, the school is actually asking if they could add another purchase to our Gopher, grant money. And
I know we don't have that much left on it.
right, yeah. How much is left on that Gopher grant?
Well, but you still have a few things to tally up, correct?
Right.
Lindsay, when's your... You all set?
I'm probably asking the question that you want me to ask to see if I can get an answer for you. But go ahead.
Just when do you need, what's the deadline?
I'll let you know.
Because Gary has to wait, tally up some final figures to send in, so we will know the balance.
Oh, the due date on this bill that they gave us was 917, so.
So that's the last, that will be submitted in the last, request.
Yeah, well, that's the due date from this.
Okay, so it's September to October 15th.
Yep.
Is the time frame. September 1. There would have been something we would have already had to have incurred the cost of.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
You have to incur the cost first.
All right, well, we'll table that for right now. We'll come back to that. Oh, Rick wants to be here for that. Okay, I'd called Carrie 2 days ago, or yesterday, I can't remember now. We need to talk about Halloween and trick-or-treating. And what I had done, asked Carrie is to reach out to all the other towns around us and see what everybody else is doing. And so far, everybody has passed doing it, except for Hinsdale. So I personally would like to see us go ahead and schedule trick-or-treating for the 31st.
Hours of between 5 and 8.
Yep. Is the board okay with that?
Yeah.
Yep. I believe it is. But I think last year they went later than trick or treating too with their haunted hayride and stuff that they did.
And it is a Saturday,
Yeah, it is a Saturday, so. I mean,
5 to 9.
I'd like to keep it 5 to 8, just that helps the residents be able to shut their lights off and.
It's not saying that DLM can't.
That's true.
Right, they
Gotcha.
can still continue to do their thing as late as they feel necessary.
Got it.
Now we have some more volunteer interest forms for the broadband committee. One here from Jennifer Bellin, one from John Parker. John's is on really thick paper. One for Leonard Picard.
Denise Fraser, is it? It's in there somewhere, I saw it.
See, John, oh, right there. Denise Fraser, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve those, but that gives us 7 now. I think that's probably sufficient with Gloria being the rep and 6.
Yep.
I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. And then there is another paper in here, sorry. Request, well, it's an invitation from Southwest Regional Planning Commission for Tuesday, October 13th at 3:30 p.m. The topic they're discussing is the Monadnock Broadband Group.
When is that?
October 13th at 3:30 p.m.
There'll be a Zoom meeting. So I was thinking we should invite some of the.
Right. Yeah.
On that, I would request that they let me know so I can let Southwest know who's going to be available to be on that call. So
Right. Right. So any of the 7 members we've appointed now to that committee, contact Carrie, and she will get you set up to get into that Zoom meeting.
Can you make that, Lenny? Can you make that one? 13.
The 13th at 3:30 in the afternoon
It's Tuesday.
to Tuesday. Yeah.
I'll put you on the list if you can, Greg, if not, don't make it. There'll be other members on, so you guys should have that.
Next we have appointment paperwork for Bill McGrath and Jason Cardinal to the zoning board.
So basically, this is from March. They have not had a meeting since March, so we're appointing who was elected in March. They have
We're
not
not elected.
elected.
Their term has expired, we're just re-up now.
I'll make a motion to accept those.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. And we have the appointment paperwork for the first two members of the broadband committee that we appointed last week, so we don't need a motion on these, because we already did, but it's for Natalie and Jennifer Howell. Just need to sign these. And next, we have a notice of intent to cut for map 25 lots 21 and 22. This is on Duso Road. There's no motion needed on this. Carrie, on this one, do I sign up top and down bottom?
Yes.
Okay. I can take that one off. That one's not needed. Margaret has a request in here. That's the one thing I remembered tonight that I was going to do anyway. But she would like to thank Paul Morehouse Sr. He was out there on the sidewalk for, 5 days? Faithfully counting how many people use the sidewalk so we could close out our grant for the sidewalk project that we did. So yeah, definitely a big thank you to Paul Morehouse Sr. for doing that for us. Next we have the same paperwork we get from the paperwork for our audit, from our auditors. It's just every year they ask us if we feel that there's any fraud or suspicious activity or anything like that going on that we feel that they need to be notified about. And I've never had any problems, so I've always voted to say no to all of it and sign it. So,
I'll make a motion to approve it and sign it.
all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None, motion carries. It's only got room for one spot, so I'll sign that after. Next we have a couple of permits for raffle tickets. By couple, I mean a few. First one's the Winchester VFW for a meat raffle on Saturday nights. Do we know when this begins or anything? All they put in there was for Saturday nights. Which Saturdays? How many Saturdays? Beginning to end? Well, I know they don't go. I know they don't go forever. Right. So, I'll be fine with it, and if it passes, then we'll just add that information after they give it to us. The second one is for the Winchester VFW again. This is for Sundays. Queen of Hearts drawing. Not sure what that is. Same thing, we gotta get clarification on how many Sundays. Next one's for the Winchester VFW again. This one's for Daley. So we'll have to get clarification on that, but this is for all it says is for cash books. Is the price. Cash book. Yeah, we need better clarification on those.
Yeah.
Here we go, Winchester VFW for January of 2021. They're raffling off a gun safe. And United Church of Winchester for October 31st. They're raffling off some gift baskets, crafts, a crib quilt, and that's all of them.
What do you want to, are we gonna wait for more info on the, or do you, I mean, it's for a good cause, I think we're fine.
Yeah, I think we're fine on all the VFW ones. We just definitely need the clarification on exactly what days to add to it, but I'm okay with approving them.
I'll make a motion to approve all of those.
The VFW is ongoing for a month, every day, for all the raffles that they have.
Okay. Is there a second on that?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, we have paperwork from the state to say that for the November election, the polls will be open between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m. And we just need to vote to accept this and sign it.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Try to keep some of this separated, because I know some of this, Rick's still not here yet, is he? Some of this. Yeah, well, I'm gonna save this stuff for Rick till last in case he wants to speak on it. Yeah, we can do a bunch of this folder. We'll skip to the financial folder. First, we have the first payment on the Richmond Road Water Project. Which, $436,669.41.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. And there's only a spot for one signature. We said there was 5 copies here? Okay, I'll sign all those after too with that one. Next, we have Amy put in, this is just an update for now, right? Just kind of an FYI about the tan? Correct. Right.
As of this morning, the balance was just a little under 600,000 in the checking account. We did get our mutual aid fund, so that will be going to the bank in the next day or two, and that was 110,000. So that'll be plus. I'm still waiting on Mary Ann to get back to me in regards to the school payment for October, November, December. In September, she told me when they picked up, when Ian picked up the check in September, I spoke with Mary on the phone. She said to contact her middle of September to see where they're at school. Possibly, they won't need the whole payment, the whole monthly payment. Maybe we can get by just like we have in the past, which is paying the payroll. I haven't heard back from her yet. I've got a few messages on her voicemail, and she hasn't responded to the email yet, so I'm still waiting on that. If the school can't help us out, we'd be looking at a $2.5 million TAN. If they can help us out, then, because our county tax came in, it's a little over $1 million, and that's due on December 17th. If we don't pay the county tax, it's a 10% interest, and they charge by the month. So it doesn't matter if they later you're gonna pay, I think it's like $8,755 in interest for being a day late on the county tax. So that's something we want to make sure we're getting on time.
Right.
So just throwing it out there, that's where we are right now, we're still.
Yep.
What are you saying we need for tan this year?
Gonna depend.
I'm still waiting on Mary. I haven't paid them this month as well, because again, I'm waiting on her to get back to me. But if they can't help us out by taking less for the next 3 months, if they want to pull them out, plus the TN, we're looking at $2.5 million. So we can't split that up either, so we have to get it ahead of time in order to pay the school, which kind of hurts because we're going to pay interest on money that's just going to be sitting in our account.
All right. Next, we have reimbursement for forestry. Well, this is the paperwork for it for $226.95.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Recuse myself on that one.
Okay. Non-motion carries 4-0 with 1 abstention. Next, we have 2 requests for payment out of the ambulance billing fund. One's to Certified Ambulance Group for $968.65. The other one's to Deluzio Ambulance Service for $4,750.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, there was 3, I believe, payments from the police outside activities. Yep. One's for June, one's for July, and one's for August. This is all just reimbursements to their accounts. First, June was for $6,859.67. July was for $3,505.23, and August was $480.49.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next is a couple of requests for payments out of the cemetery building donation checking account. First one is for payment to Jeff Carter in the amount of $12,250. And then the other one is a payment to Home Depot for $1,075.48. One to Aubuchon Hardware for $52.56. Hampshire Lumber for $4,718.19. And WB Mason for $1,011.95.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next is a request to withdraw $687 from the cemetery general maintenance fund to offset the line in the cemetery operating budget.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries. There's actually 3 pages to sign on this. Oh, no, just 2, sorry. 2 pages to sign on that one. Next is a request for payment from the town-owned buildings upgrade capital reserve fund. First one is for $1,200 to Thomas Wyman Electrical, and the next one is $665 to Granite City Electric.
Make a motion to approve those.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Next, Dale has 3 requests in here. The first one's easy one. That's for salt for the $60,000. That's the full amount in the line item. The other 2 are one's for repairs to the F-550 for $5,892, and the other one's the repairs to the trackless for $7,247.08.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carries.
I was just gonna say, it's on my copy.
Yep. I'm gonna sign these, then we'll move over to the public hearing. Now, it being 7 o'clock, we have a public hearing scheduled for tonight. The posting was posted as the Winchester Board of Selectmen will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, October 7th, 2020 at 7 p.m. at the Winchester Town Hall, 1 Richmond Road, Winchester, New Hampshire, to hear public comment on the review and adoption of the Town of Winchester's Housing and Community Development Plan. The Housing and Community Development Plan is a required planning document for the Town of Winchester's participation in the Federal Community Development Block Grant Program and outlines short and long-term community development goals for the town up to $500,000 annually, available through the CDBG program on a competitive basis for housing, public facilities, economic development, micro-enterprise, and energy activities, emergency activities that directly benefit low and moderate income persons. Up to $25,000 is available annually for feasibility study grants. So I will entertain a motion to enter the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. We are now in the public hearing. Did you want to speak on this first? Yep. Come on right up to the microphone.
Well, thank you, and it's good to be in front of this board again. As you know, my name is James Weatherly, and I'm the Planning Technician and Grant Administrator with Southwest Region Planning Commission. A couple of notes on this document, as I mentioned. The town has to review and re-adopt this document every 3 years to be able to apply for CDBG funds, and that's not just this feasibility study funds that we're going for, but anything from economic development on up. Generally, the plan was last adopted in January of 2014, and generally the plan has remained mostly the same, especially with the goals. The only update that I have to report is that additional data was added for the 2010 census, as well as data from the American Community Survey and data from the New Hampshire Office of Strategic Initiatives. So generally the same plan, but just some updated data included in there. And just important to note as part of this public hearing is that this is in support of the Town Beach feasibility study application mentioned the other week. And it connects to two goals in the plan, and that is to actively promote tourism and recreational opportunities of Pisgah State Park, Forest Lake, and the Ashwellet River. And it also aligns with the goal of supporting existing recreation and exploring new initiatives for residents of all ages and abilities. So the application I mentioned the other week is in line, and I'm here to answer any questions of the board and public about the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the board have any questions on this update?
I don't know.
Does anybody from the public have any questions on the update? Okay, I will,
Motion to accept the...
not yet.
Oh, you, okay.
I will entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that one.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. All opposed? None. Motion carries. Now I will entertain a motion to adopt a housing and community development plan.
I'll make a motion to adopt that.
Well, it's the whole plan. The plan's just been updated. We got to re-adopt the plan. So motion was made and seconded. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None. Motion carries. And again, there's only room for one signature, so I will sign that with those other ones. Thank you very much. Now, moving back. That's empty. We got it all? Good. Yeah, we got all the financial stuff. So, Rick, we were saving you for last because you weren't here yet. So you have, I see that you have Fournier Press over.
Yes, it's there. They'll be running tomorrow too. If anyone would like to come over in the morning. See the machine operate.
It's just like the one we saw in Marlboro, right?
Same
That's
thing,
what
yes.
I don't
Yep.
know if
Yeah, Janny's seen it before. Yep, it's the same.
I don't want to see it
Same,
again.
yeah. It's rotary fan press. Slow RPMs, doesn't move very fast, very quiet. Very nice machine. So it's a little bit, it's different technology than we're using now with the water sludge.
All right. No, not that paper. Where'd it go? I just had it. Right there. So did you want to give us this,
The sanitary survey?
the sanitary survey?
Yeah, we had a sanitary survey with DES on our drinking water sources, and this has been following us for quite a few years. They want to have chemical analyzers inside the well houses to monitor pH and chlorine residuals, and have an alarm system to alarm out if the levels were to get high, as versus for the chemical feed pump to be adjusted to the set residuals that the state requires. So I did receive some information. I've already talked to the programmers that have the licensing over our software. We have Allen Bradley controls, so they do have some stuff, so we could get some preliminary costs to put these analyzers into the wells. But they call for, a sanitary sewer to be discharged to from these analyzers. So I'd have to see if we just finished we've been working towards this, but we just finished putting all those dry wells in the wells this year. So we do have drainage systems. I'd have to see if that's, applicable for this situation, if the state would say that's all right. So it looks like I'll be able to come up with some rough numbers, but I've also talked to Tater and Howard if we could also maybe wrap this into with the tank and with the booster station. We might be able to, wrap that into it too, which that's what the state's kind of looking at, but at the same time, I try to, keep engineering out of it. We might be able to do it at a lower cost with the analyzers. He's given me two different types, the Hawk, and there's another brand. I can't tell you right off the top of my head right now, but I did receive that stuff tonight and started to review it. So I guess it will be two different approaches, but we'll have to have a letter of, we have to respond within 30 days of what our game plan is going to be. So that's it's going to be like a twofold game plan. Either we'll wrap it up into the end of these projects for the water tank and the booster station, or we'll do it solely on ourselves with Wilson Engineering, and maybe bringing in Weston and Sampson to do the plumbing and the wiring for the project. So that's what I'm kind of looking at right now, in the beginning of this, process. But again, I'll have a letter to you guys probably, within a couple of weeks once I can get some data to Wilson Controls. They want pictures of the well houses. They can come up with some rough costs for Weston and Sampson to do the plumbing and then to do the programming and get the analyzers going. They do have some analyzers that were put in some other towns that didn't like the analyzers. So there is some low cost opportunities we have there too, but I can't present that tonight, but I will be, to keep this, what it would be if we went brand new, with Hawk instruments, if we went that way.
Yeah.
And, versus if we went with something that's, been refurbished.
All right.
And so that's basically where we stand right now. Just have a response in 30 days.
Yep.
We're getting better technology for chemical addition.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Yeah. No. While you're right there, Carrie told us that there was a little bit of storm damage over there tonight.
Yeah, I was at the plant and a microburst came through, so it snapped some trees off. We just got trees on the north side cleared off the fence and them removed, and now on the south side, the fence got completely compromised.
Yep.
Just barely missed the clarifier roof, and Dale just told me the same thing has happened at Bilo, the fence around the pump station there, so I haven't seen that. He said there's a tree on the fence.
Yep.
So
I know.
and within a month, 2 insurance claims.
Yep. All right. Well, at least it was. At least it was just a couple fences. So.
Yeah, the weather must know that the trees are all going to be removed, I guess.
Yeah.
Another month there wouldn't have been a tree to blow over, but
Yep.
it was they was out in the field where Jimmy Smith's got the trees. It was blowing leaders out into the field.
Yep.
There's 4 or 5, pretty good sized leaders out in the field. It was.
Yeah, I got a couple down in my yard.
Yeah.
Yeah. When that wind came through, it was pretty brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty violent.
Yep.
So,
Right.
yeah, that's all I got for you. And I will share with the board, it looks like our project's coming in quite a bit under budget for the Richmond Road water main. So I'm trying to see if we can extend that water main lease to Goamco Drive, and still stay under budget. So they're trying to jockey out all the figures right now. Pollock and Tater and Howard are trying to make sure everything matches up on those figures. So if that's the case, we'll go another approximately 370 feet of that 12-inch water main, gated at three-way gated at Goamco Drive. So that'll get us a little bit closer to the end, get us closer to Scotland Road with that 12-inch main.
Yeah.
So that's all good news. Everything seems to be going to plan. There's one service left. The last service got connected today, the last water service to the homes under the part we're doing right now, and they connected in Bilo Acres and Forest Lake Road. So tomorrow it'll be Pump Road, and Friday it'll be the lower part of Richmond Road by Union Street. Then we're kind of at a standstill so we can find out if we can move any further up to Bilo Acres, to Goamco Drive. Other than that, they're just doing cleanup and restoration, and
That's all hooked up on Union Street now? That-
Union Street is all hooked up, but we still gotta do on Richmond Road, just below Union Street, this side of Union Street, so. But, you know, they're all, you know, we're just working around it. We're gonna work Monday, because that was the only day we could come in an agreement with the school that we were gonna displace anybody or, you know, cause a scheduling problem for people with their kids and everything. So we will be out there Columbus Day, doing the school connection, just so we didn't disrupt anybody.
Right.
But,
Yep. No, good work.
yeah,
They've
they did a
moved
very
right
good
along.
job. Yeah, quite pleased with the end product.
Yeah.
It's gonna come out pretty nice. And we stayed out of the roadway,
Yep.
the state
Kept the
highway.
state
so,
happy.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you, Rick.
Okay. Thank you.
Next in here, we have the two proposals that we looked at a couple weeks ago for the work at the library. The one for JP Hazel Builders and one from Stebbins. Did everybody get a chance to read through these? Does anybody have any questions or recommendations?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we hire Stebbins Painting
Yep.
to do the scope of work that's defined for the Conant Library for the amount of $13,000.
The total was $13,635.
Just for painting, right, Jack?
No, they're gonna
Some sheetrock.
some sheetrock and scraping and painting. And, yeah.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None, motion carries. There's only room for one signature on that too. So I will sign that, and Carrie, can you send a letter to the other people? And then the last thing in the folder is the housing standard ordinance paperwork here. Jack, you had mentioned that you're still waiting. You'd still like to hold
I
off?
still have, actually, it's a legal question, not about the wording of it, but, well, I guess it would be about some of the word. It has to do with certain properties that fall underneath this category. And I'll explain it to you as soon as I get the legal part of it.
All right, so is the board okay with tabling that?
Not gonna be this year?
Well, it's not coming from the state, so it should be quick.
And that's the last of everything in the folder. The one thing I did have, Margaret already brought up. Does anybody else from the board have anything?
I met with the state the other day, down there at the light at VFW. The
Crosswalk.
bank had all washed away. I had Dale go down the back door. Then I went down to the state shed and talked to Harvey. He said that they've been working on that 2 years. I said, well, what are we gonna do? You know, you're working on it, not doing nothing.
They haven't done much with it for 2 years because we've been filling it in for 2
I
years.
know, so then I went up to I left there and went to Swansea, and they finally came down, a bunch of engineers and everything came down and looked at it.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get it fixed before somebody gets hurt.
Yeah, 'cause I was noticing the other day when I drove by, there was a pretty good hole there.
Well, they had a big hole, but that's not it. It's undermined underneath, by going up towards the telephone pole, so we're gonna have to do something. We can't, it's the state's responsibility. They admitted that.
All right, well, good work. Anybody else from the board have anything?
I don't tonight, no.
All right, I will open it to the floor for the 15 minutes of public comment.
Are you not adding that to the agenda, or are you letting him still do public comment?
Well, I was going to do a monthly update on the clock.
Okay,
I don't think there's enough going on for a weekly update,
cool.
so.
Jack, for you. Just to clarify, the bill that is in the folder from the school for the potential COVID grants that is a project that's already been completed. We had to complete it at the school. It was for a ventilation upgrade for 4 classrooms in the elementary wing so that we could continue to develop bringing students back on campus.
So we just need to figure out what's our balance left so we can tell you
yeah.
what's available.
Yeah, we are obviously continuing to eat into our COVID money quite extensively with what we have to do to keep with guidelines and keep our students safe. So I just wanted to
Thank you.
to let you know I found that out. I had a couple of questions just about during your budget work session. My first was, in all of your budgets, I didn't hear you specifically mention it. Did they include salaries for all of the employees that fall under those various budgets?
Yeah.
So you didn't really discuss that. I apologize if I missed it last meeting. I wasn't here. Did you decide on what those raises were going to be for the town? 2%, 3%? What did
We haven't discussed anything about any type of raise.
So the employees level funded their salaries for this year in those budgets?
Can I speak on that? Last year, we had in the personal administration, we had a new line item.
Right.
Which is just for salaries. So once they decided whoever's going to get whatever raise, that chunk of money will go into that one line item. Then dispersed out. That's how we did it this year.
So you haven't discussed that?
There's no percentage, there's no everything.
That budget hasn't been discussed, though. I thought that fell under your budget, and I thought your budget was discussed last month. Or last. Oh, okay. I'm trying to rack my brain from our budget books where that falls. I thought it was under administration or under Amy's. Finance and HR?
I think it's under personal administration, which we did not discuss yet.
Okay. So because what? Oh, because you don't have health insurance information and everything. Okay. Under the ambulance line, I was hoping for some kind of update or information with regard to the new ambulance being full-time. Is there any savings? Has there been progress? And then what's going on with the ambulance chief? Have you decided that that's just going to become one position with the fire department?
The ambulance captain?
The captain, thank you.
We haven't made a decision on that. Everything seems to be working pretty smoothly with having the chief as the acting captain. And as far as the update on the numbers, that's actually something I'm looking to get to. I don't have those available tonight, but
that's
I
okay.
will in the future.
Awesome. When is your town audit scheduled for?
October 26th.
Awesome. Glorious Audit Monday, thank you. You, in the highway department, and this might come up in the future with warrants, last year you had requested as a warrant a heavy piece of equipment that was not passed. Earlier in this summer months, I know there was a conversation with regard to replacing several tires, which was quite a hefty expense. I didn't hear that there was any kind of discussion from the highway department other than the increase in maintenance. So I'm wondering what the conversation is with regard to that piece of heavy equipment. And if it's going to be on a warrant, what if it doesn't pass? How are you going to, where in your budget are you going to come up with the funds to continue to fix it?
After we go through all the budgets, department heads, then we'll talk about warrant articles.
So you're thinking that's going to be another warrant article?
Yes.
To purchase equipment, it's going to be a warrant article.
Right.
It would be
It
a
has
warrant
to be.
article.
Right. What about a backup plan? Because right now we're in the middle of no backup plan.
That's why we keep funding our capital reserve fund that we have. Last year, we put in
I think we put 5,000 last year in the
5,000, I
highway
think,
capital
and
reserve.
we were up to 18,000 into it. So that's our backup plan.
My last comment is just a comment because we hear this thrown around a lot during budget season, and that is it's a bottom line budget and you can move the money wherever you need to. While I know that it's a bottom line budget, I would encourage you to not just move money between your lines, because when you do that, you don't get a clear picture of where you're actually spending and be able to benchmark what you might need for the future. In line with that, about 5 or 6 months ago, I asked if the select board had any kind of future planning in mind. You mentioned that you do indeed have, various capital plans. I haven't heard you discuss any, and I'm just wondering how you're thinking about the future of Winchester when you're building your budget. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let me respond to your comment as far as moving money along. When you say that you can't, it isn't you don't get an accurate reading the following year on what items were overspent. You do if you keep track of it, and we keep track of it. So if we take it out of one line item and put it in another, it will reflect it into our budget next year. X amount of dollars was taken out of line A and put in line B. So then we have a correct history of it.
Just to follow up with that, the conversation was brought up when Dale was talking about how he wouldn't recommend that you take money from the line for the trees because that's the line item that always gets basically robbing Peter to pay Paul, and then the tree work doesn't get done. And I just find it ironic because now we have 2 insurance claims for trees that came down in an area. Who knows if that could happen someplace where future planning would have prevented an insurance claim that will result in higher rates at some point in time.
Well, you've been here all summer. Our future planning of the trees that came down, that's all going to be clear cut here starting within a week or so. So it was planned. It just happens that God gave us a storm tonight.
Jason?
Yeah.
Come on up.
I'm here as the representative from the Red Committee to talk to you about what we're planning and what we have done. We put on a wonderful music series this summer, and we continue to do the farmers market, which is we're thinking about moving inside, and I've been in conversations with Margaret about that possibility, and we think that probably will happen perhaps the 1st of November. I'm also here to ask you for your blessing on an event that we're thinking about planning, and that is a scarecrow competition that we're hoping, competition or festival type of thing that we're hoping to have on Halloween in the park. The sort of idea is that we have some sort of walk-through event where people build the scarecrows and bring them down, set them up, and then folks walk through, and we have like pre-packaged candy at the end for the kids as they come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Does that sound?
Yep. Yeah. No problem with that.
Yeah.
Sounds
right.
good.
Berniston does it. Jaffrey does it as well, and we thought that would be a good seasonal Troy as well. Okay.
Yeah. No, good
Great.
work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wanted to.
And I know, since you brought that up, I know Ben's going to bring it up again this year.
Christmas tree lights.
Yeah.
we're yes, we're thinking about that as well, and perhaps partnering again with the Snowmobile Club about some sort of Santa in the park type of event. Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Natalie Cavedo, 112 Village Street. One praise thing, Jack Marsh, thank you for questioning some of the budget and looking back on it a couple years. Because as I was listening to the budget session happen, I didn't hear anybody question any of it. I also did not hear if there were increases. I heard when there were decreases, but I was wondering if you could clarify and go over each department what was actually increased, because I couldn't hear that being in this meeting.
Well, I did mention, like, for instance, with the landfill budget, that the increase in it was the contract with Monadnock Disposal.
Okay,
And that
I didn't hear that.
they did decrease quite a few line items to try to make up for some of that extra money that we had to spend.
Yeah, so could we just go over real quick, because I want to know, and I didn't hear it all, what each department was, if there was an increase or a decrease, and what that number was?
If you would like a copy of it, you can contact Carrie and she can give you copies of what those all those line items and numbers.
Great, thank you. Perfect.
Yeah.
The other thing was the bid that was put out for the library
Yep.
For painting. Was there a bid put out, or did you guys just ask for quotes? Because I believe it was $13,000 that you just said it was?
No, it was bids, it was advertised, and
If they weren't closed bids?
We didn't get any bids.
You didn't get any bids
No bids.
at all, so then we just got quotes. Then we just got quotes, not bids?
Those are bids because I had to call around and say,
Okay.
because we got nothing.
Yeah, no.
yeah,
Oh, geez.
twice we advertised and nobody at all bid on it.
Really? That really stinks.
And we had to
Okay.
get the work done, so we
Yeah,
had to
no,
call
definitely.
people.
No, cool. No, thanks for answering that question. I think lastly is just again about the budget. Having done budget work in the past, I always tend to question years and years before. So it seems like to me, and this is more of a comment, how are we just, again, Lindsay mentioned, we're moving around money, okay? But we don't actually know where that money's being spent to be moved, so that way we could decrease each line item in the next year's budget. Like, why can't we fund that line item for what it needs based on the prior year's budget?
Well, the line item will show at the end of the year that it's negative or positive. I mean,
Right, so, I mean, in the
if
example.
a particular line item is overspent, the monies needed to make up for it are taken out of the bottom line of that particular budget, but that line item will show that it was overspent.
No, yes, that I understand.
Okay.
But why are we still not looking back at 2 to 3 years prior to make sure that those line items are already set and not being underspent or overspent?
No, I do. I pay close attention to all the years.
I only heard Jack ask that question.
Yeah, I didn't. The rest of them, in my opinion, were pretty well in line with what I would recommend. That's why I didn't ask any questions. I felt confident with it.
Okay. So, I mean, the prior year was the same thing. Nobody asked about the year prior.
We have it in the book.
It's in the book.
Right.
In our book right here, we can look at.
It's all right there for us to look at. When you get a copy of it, you'll see what we see.
Okay. I'm still confused with the whole tree line item, why he wouldn't take that $5,000 out. It still doesn't make sense to me. Why wouldn't he take that $5,000 and move it if he doesn't use it anyway? No? Okay, cool.
Thank you. Mike.
Thank you for the clock, Mike.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, first off, I'd like to thank Selectman Stevens, Selectman Marsh, and yourself for your guidance on what is possibly the world's greatest pigeon poop escapade. Question for you. The old clock face is down in the portico in the entrance to the church.
Yep.
Are we going to store that? Where would you like it stored?
Are they worth holding on to?
Probably not.
Which ones,
It,
are the original,
the original, the one that was only 1/8 inch thick?
not the plexiglass ones?
Yes, it is plexiglass.
Yeah, the
Okay.
plexiglass.
Because there was
the
one that was
somebody
still
made.
glass, right?
That's in.
That, okay, they
That's
didn't
it.
replace that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Only
this is
replace
just the.
I was thinking if it was a glass one, we could put it down in the Sheridan House. Yeah,
Right. It's one that somebody already made to replace and didn't
Yeah.
work right.
it's a good wall hanging, take it home.
You can frame it.
Second, we are taking on some water up there tonight, but given the fact that, the storm was what it is.
Yeah, that wind was.
I mentioned to Mike last week, and I pointed out the fact that we did take on some water there, but apparently it's blowing in underneath the last louver. He did seal it up with a roofing sealer, the silver stuff, but it is still leaking on the Main Street side. We've got a little puddle of water up there. It hasn't penetrated down below that,
Yep.
but it's probably an anomaly at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I would say probably have Carrie reach out to Mike and just at least give him a heads up. Mike from Steepleworks, that is.
Yeah, I gave him a tour last week and
Right.
pointed it out.
Just give him another heads up on it, and then if it does happen again, then we'll have to definitely get him up there to fix it.
Okay, we do have some money left in on that budget. Is there any chance that we could, I had a really nice conversation with the pigeons yesterday. Is there any chance that we could put some kind of a pigeon barrier up there, because it's all over the brand new copper, and they're playing Japanese dive bomber, so it's going right into the clock phase.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you're talking on the outside of the building?
Outside, yeah, up on top of where the copper, where they all sit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, all you can really do is put those spike, I forget what they're called, but spike strips basically for birds.
If you've ever seen Walgreens up in Keene, they have it under the archway, the enclosed
Right.
arch, they have them up there.
Right, they're like spike strips to keep
Yeah,
the
it
birds
almost
off
looks
them.
like concertina wire.
Yep.
But it keeps them away.
Yeah. Well, that'd be another good question for Mike from Steepleworks, because I am not climbing up there to put it on if we do get it, so.
Mike, don't you have money in the account left?
We do.
Enough to do that, you think?
We do.
Yeah, I'm sure there's enough there to do that, but.
The other question I have for you is basically on the weights, the counterweights. I did ask Mike at about a week or two ago when you and I were down there if he could paint the counterweights, and they haven't been painted. When I connected up the shafts to the MotionWorks, it seems like 3 of the clock faces, the counterweights, are horrifically out of balance. And what that eventually does is it creates a lot of backlash. And that backlash tends to be a multiplier force.
Right.
So that's why, you know, for 6 hours on the hour hand, you've got positive pressure, and you've only got 30 minutes on the minute hand, but then on the upside, it's not there.
Right.
So it's getting impossible to try to regulate. I did tack on some weights, basically about 30 ounces of weight, and that is down from 3 minutes in the hours. Well, what I was thinking is if he's going to be up there to put the finials on, is there a possibility that we could ask him to be on the outside while I adjust on the inside?
Yeah, it'd be a good time to ask him.
He's got to put the finials on up there anyway.
Right. So it'd definitely be a good time to ask him to try to do something for us on it.
Okay.
Yeah, connect with Carrie and make sure that
Okay.
Mike
And
gets
on
all
another
these.
note, I do have the bond rating information and the MS9s and MS10s. Kerry, you may, on the MS9 and MS10 that was submitted to the state, you may want to check Ken's service date when his term expires. I believe it's incorrect. Okay. I don't know if you have to resubmit that. So I should have all of that information for Amy this week.
Okay.
Okay, thank
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Barry.
Ben, sure if the board knows, but our new rescue's in service. We've actually gone on a couple calls, including tonight with the multiple trees and wires. We got on top of the price that we paid for it, we got probably $60,000 or $70,000 worth of tools that they just gave to us on top of the $185,000 that we paid for the truck. With that being said, have you guys thought or talked over what we're gonna do with the old rescue? My understanding is that the water department would like it.
Well, we really haven't talked about it as a board, kind of talked to Rick and talked to Dale about it, but
Yeah, Dale talked to me, he's not interested anymore, and I just talked with Rick, and he's looking for it. We're looking for $5,000 for it. We can get a lot more money, but if another, department needs it in town, we just basically outgrew it. That's why we don't.
they print money over the water department, you should be
I
able to
know.
get 10 out of it.
So basically, we've got all the tools off from it that we need to. There's a couple Cascade bottles that we need to get out, so right now, and the reason why I'm asking, because it's still in our station, I'd like to get that out and get another piece of equipment from Ash Woolett up here, so we can utilize equipment.
Good question, good point. So if that's moved around, then they're going to have an empty bay in Ashwell?
We can have,
So
and
we
I
can
know
put
where you're
them
going with
back
that, so that's why
Okay.
you guys need to make a decision on where this rescue goes.
What's that?
That's why you guys need to make a decision on where the old rescue goes.
Gary, we could get more money if we put it out to bid to another town.
But if another department can use it, why wouldn't we just keep it in town?
What do you think you could get for it?
I don't know,
I don't know
but
if we
I
would.
think that for the small amount of miles that are on it, that should take that water department another 10 years or better.
I mean, the utility body, all they have to basically do to that thing is change the lens covers of the lights and
Right.
go from red to yellow, and he can utilize that whole utility body and everything.
Right. Yeah.
The problem with selling it outside, we're gonna have to put it out to bid. It's like everything else. If people bid on it and then we don't get what we want, then we're gonna have to start over and redo the bid process. Whereas Rick needs it. It's, $5,000 that I'm asking for it to recoup our transportation costs for the new rescue, and
Or somebody buys it and 3 years later still hasn't come and got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? None?
all right, thank you.
So see Amy. do
There you go,
paperwork.
Rick. You own a truck.
Yeah.
It's gotta be moved soon, though, not
Yes.
3 years.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm again just gonna ask that Mike be moved to the agenda item instead of during
and-
public comment.
And as I said before public comment, when you asked me that, when I spoke with Mike the other day, he said he didn't have enough information to talk tonight, so I told him that we'd do it at a different meeting, and he chose to talk, so.
Okay, maybe add him as an agenda item, and then if he doesn't talk, then he just says no, so we don't take up part of public comment. But anyway, to go on with that, I just wanted to ask a question about the TANs. I heard that you were asking for help from the school. What are you looking for?
For what we normally ask this time of year before tax bills go out again, because the bank account's always low this time of year, is if the school can hold off on some of the money that we normally give them monthly. Especially this year where we gave them an extra almost $1 million in 3 months. We were hoping that they could work with us a little bit for the next few months so that we wouldn't have to take out a huge TAN. Because
So you're asking for a TAN for an additional 3 months? For them to cover you for 3 months that you...
No, they're not covering us anything.
You're asking it from them early.
Reduction in what we have to give them each month.
Right, less we have to give them each month, which makes it a smaller TAN that we end up needing to take out to be able to make the payments, and less money and interest that we end up paying, because we pay the interest on these TANs.
Okay, so if the school is not able to...
If the school is unable to, then it's going to be a very large TAN that we take out.
Okay, so then is our general fund so low? And why is it that way every year that we're looking for the school to now?
It's just the way it is.
What is the solution to fixing that?
The first half of the budget year is when we have to pay all the warrant article monies out also. The $50,000 to the community center and all the monies for like access, all that stuff. That all comes out of our general fund, plus the school payments, the first half of the year's worth of school payments. Plus this year, we gave the school an extra almost $1 million in 3 months to help them out so they could get their projects done that they wanted to get done. So, I mean, it's just the first half of the year is always the tough half of the year. Because no matter what, you only get half the tax revenue coming in.
How many years has this happened?
That's the way it always is. That's the way it's always going to be.
So is there a plan so this doesn't happen anymore?
It's never going to be like that.
Why?
Until there's a year that nobody asks for extra money in a warrant article, so that there's
Why
not
aren't
a
we
bunch
putting
of...
something else into a capital reserve for the town itself?
What's
as a
that?
whole for the general fund?
I couldn't hear you, what?
Why aren't you putting anything into capital reserve for the general fund for the town?
We don't have a town-wide general fund
Why?
capital reserve.
Why?
We have our, what's that account called? No, the
Unsecured.
unanticipated funds account, yeah.
Okay.
We have that.
How much is in there?
Not much.
Why aren't we funding that more?
Because if we put money into that, then we have to raise people's taxes to put money into that.
So rather than raising taxes for a short amount of time, we'd rather try and scrape by with a possible $2.5 million penalty, which would raise people's taxes again?
No, we don't raise anybody's taxes taking
So
out
then
a
where does
TAN.
that penalty money come from?
Where's what?
the penalty money come from?
The interest money?
Yes.
That, it's budgeted every year.
2.5 million?
No.
Just the interest.
The interest.
Right. You do budget for the interest, but what about a penalty?
There is no penalty.
I believe she said there was a penalty if it's,
That's for the county bill. If we
so where
don't,
does that come from? But say we are late. Say this year well, let's hope it doesn't happen. Let's say we are late and there is a penalty from the county. Where does that money come from?
we don't have it.
So that has to come out of taxpayer money.
Well, that's why we take out a TAN, so we can make the payment on time, so we don't have to pay the penalty.
Right.
It's
but
not
now-
worth
but-
risking $8,000 when we can take out the TAN that we're gonna have to take out anyway.
Okay, I don't think you're understanding what I'm trying to say. So, at the risk of having a penalty brought upon you, you would rather not raise taxes by a slight amount to put it into a contingency fund that the town has in case of an extreme event.
Correct, you're right.
Okay, thanks.
All right, that's the end of public comment. We're way over that 15 minutes. I will entertain a motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A32 C and E, right? Just the two of them? Yeah. Oh, A, C and E.
So moved.
Jack?
Aye.
James? Herb? Gloria? Ben, aye. We're now in non-public.